Lesson 44 is about simplifying and comparing decimal numbers. Our first question says to multiply 0.25 by 0.04 and simplify the product. Now we could also say these numbers as 25 hundredths and 4 hundredths, and we want to find out what our product will be. Now in order to multiply decimals, our first step when we multiply decimals is to make the decimals whole numbers. So if we want to make the decimals whole numbers in this problem, step 1, we'll use a different color over on the left. We're going to say 0.25, that's the same as 25, and 0.04, that would be the same as 4, and we'd go ahead and multiply. So step 2 is multiply. Multiply the whole numbers. We multiply the whole numbers, 25 times 4. Well, 25 times 4, we could do that one with mental math because we're saying how much money would you have if you had 4 quarters? Because 25 is like a quarter. Well, 4 quarters, that would be $1, so 25 times 4 is 100. So we've got 100 for step 2. Now step 3. Step 3 is our final step. In step 3, we have to put the decimal back in. And the way that we figure out how to put the decimal back in is what we're going to discuss next. Make sure you've got these steps copied down into your notes. For step number 3, if we want to put the decimal back in, well, we can see that we moved it out twice to get 25, and 4 times in order to get our 25 and our 4, when we see how many total spots we moved the decimal over. So we moved it out 4 times. We moved it to the right 4 times to get our whole numbers. Now, in order to get our decimal number, we have to move it back in 4 times. So to move it back in 4 times, we're going to take 100. The decimal point is after the second 0. We're going to move it back in 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we've got an empty value there. That empty value needs to be filled with a placeholder 0. So we've got our answer. Our answer must be 0.0100, which is exactly the same as 0.01, because those extra zeros, well, they're not telling us anything important in this problem. So we have an answer of 1 hundredths when we multiply 25 hundredths by 4 hundredths. Let's go ahead and look at our next example. We want to compare 0.3 and 303 thousandths. So if we want to compare these, let's go ahead and draw a number line. Now our number line, it's got to have heads of the arrows, and the number line is going to have the values of 0.3 and 0.4. Now if we plot these 2 points, 0.3, that must be right on the number line. It might be right on the tick mark. So this point, we'll call this A. We'll call this one B. A goes right here. Now B, 0.303. Well, that's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit closer to 0.4 than 0.3 would be if we look at these two. Where A is, B is going to be a little bit further along. Just a little bit further along. It might be only right here. But we can see that B falls in this position. So which one's bigger? Well, B must be bigger. It's further to the right on the number line. So we can make our inequality. Okay? Remember, our inequality always opens towards the bigger number. The alligator wants the more. The alligator is going to eat the bigger number. We could draw in our teeth if we wanted to. And we've got our answer. We've said 0.3 is less than 0.303. And we use the number line to help us figure that out. Let's look at our next example. Here we want to arrange the numbers from least to greatest. So in this, if we want to find the smallest number, what we're going to do is we're going to start from the left of each number, and then we're going to work across to find which one's the smallest. So well, we've got 0 in the ones, 0 in the ones, 0 in the ones, and 0 in the ones. So they're all equal for the ones. Now in our tenths, In our tenths, we have a 3, a 0, a 2, and a 2. Well, 0 must be the smallest, so we've got our least number. Our least number is 0.042. We can cross this one out because we've already figured out where it belongs. It goes first because it's the least. Next, we want to figure out the second smallest number. So we've got a 3 in the tenths, a 2 in the tenths, and a 2 in the tenths. So, we know a 2 in the tenths and a 2 in the tenths. Well, those are equal, so let's look at our next number. In the hundredths, we've got a 4, and we've got a 3. Well, 3 is smaller than 4, so our next smallest number must be 0.235. And we could X that one off of our list. Then we have 0.3 and 0.24. Well, 0.24 must be smaller because the tenths position of 2 is smaller than the tenths position of 3. So we get 0.24. And then finally we must get 0.3. And we've got our final answer. We've written from least to greatest by examining the values in each of our place value positions to help us solve. Lesson practice will be on page 235. Make sure you've got your notes complete, and I'll see you during our next class.